Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Hot Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR the Hot Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about anti-gunners are officially going for broke, now trying to sue mag makers and other pro-2A companies, which is both unconstitutional and also illegal under the Lawful Commerce and Arms Act, because you cannot sue a company based on the fact that they are selling a product which by definition is designed for self-defense, etc. And there's a reason why we have Lawful Commerce and Arms Act in this country. It's so you can't sue these people. It's just like how you can't sue car manufacturers for when some drunk driver misuses their fucking vehicle to kill a bunch of people, is what it is. You can't sue a gun manufacturer for when their firearm is used by some criminal to commit a massacre, etc., etc. So it's not the first time this has happened either. You had it happen, and I think the real problem is you had it happen with the whole Bushmaster thing over Sandy Hook and stuff like that, which basically led to these assholes now trying to go for broke, is what it is, thinking that they can, continue to sue people, is what it is. Which in reality, it was not Remington that actually gave them a dime. It was a bunch of stupid ass companies that were the remnants of Remington, which were more or less a bunch of lawyer companies that basically allowed a bunch of money to shift hands to Sandy Hook families, is what it was. And because of that, that's why these anti-gunners think they can go after mag manufacturers or gun manufacturers or anything else like that, which they cannot, by the way. It's all for this lawsuit bullshit. It's all these assholes just trying to look for a fucking payday instead of actually going after the people that should be sued, which in the case we're going to talk about today is specifically the FedEx company. And more specifically, it should be the FedEx uh, shipping place there in Indiana, is what it is. That actual hub is what it would be that they should be suing, is what it is. And by extension, it should be the company of FedEx, is what it would be then, for becoming a gun free zone and creating a gun free zone to where you had nobody to stop that piece of shit that did the massacre there. So, anyway, they're also trying. I know Bloomberg for a fact is the one giving lawyers to another company, or sorry, another dude here in Ohio. It was after the Dayton massacre. They're trying to sue KCI now as well. That's been going on for about a year or so now, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it was ever dismissed or not. It should have been dismissed on the spot, honestly, by any judge in this country, as a frivolous lawsuit that it is. But they're basically trying to go after KCI about a year or so ago as well for the Dayton massacre and trying to fuck them out of business, is what it is. So yeah, you had April 16th of 2021. So it's almost the 2 year anniversary of that. Would be this week actually. Is when the FedEx shooting happened there. And the only reason I know that is because I am literally looking at. I had to look up exactly when it was. I knew it was a couple years ago. I didn't realize it was pretty much the anniversary coming up here. But yeah, this is what we're talking about here: the Indianapolis FedEx shooting. And more specifically, we were talking about the son of one of the guys who was killed during that, which is the other article that we're going to pop up here, which is a Breitbart article that said, "Son of FedEx shooting employee or shooting victim sues quote high capacity magazine maker." So the son of FedEx shooting victim, Jaswinder C. Yeah, Jaswinder Singh, yeah, Jaswinder Singh. So basically, it's probably some foreign national anyway. Um, or if the guy was like a naturalized citizen, I'm sure his kid probably was like a naturalized citizen as well on that one. Is now suing American Tactical Inc. over the use of one of their ammunition magazines during the April 15th, 2021 shooting. So that would actually be tomorrow, technically speaking, would be the second anniversary of that. So, yeah. Bunch of bullshit either way, dude, entirely. And it's like the same exact thing here with Dayton, dude. I'm trying to sue over the mag manufacturers over Dayton and stuff like that instead of suing the actual parents of that piece of shit. Or I don't know, going after Antifa and BLM, who the motherfucking massacre piece of shit who committed that was tied to and affiliated with, or hell, even better, go after Elizabeth Warren, a current sitting U.S. senator, who that motherfucker that committed the Dayton massacre was a fucking supporter of, dude. So yeah, go after left wing terrorists. Terrorists is what it is, dude. Go after left wing terrorism in our government is what it is, dude. See the show these fucking people. And honestly, I'll say it like it is, man. Every single time that one of these bullshit lawsuits happens, the companies that are getting sued need to countersue the shit out of another company that is actually the ones behind it. Specifically, in this case, American Tactical needs to sue the fuck out of FedEx, who are the ones that created the damn gun-free zone that didn't allow employees to be armed on duty and on their shifts there, so that they could actually be able to confront this piece of shit instead of being a victim having to run for it. They could have actually domed that motherfucker in one shot, is what it is. That 19-year-old piece of crap who, by the way, and this is what's even more fucked up. So this is before Indiana had constitutional carry, by the way, about 2 years or so, almost. And the thing there was the kid who did this, who was 19 years old, that son of a bitch, in a state that had red flags, was red flagged by the fucking cops, and the cops did nothing. So if you're gonna sue anybody, sue the fucking state of Indiana, dude. Sue the fucking shithead police department that gave this kid a fucking free pass, knew he was a violent danger to himself and others and stuff like that, and didn't do a goddamn thing to stop him, man. Because that's the problem with the police in this country, dude. They don't do fuck all to stop the real criminals, is what it is. They just let them run fucking wild. And then when something does go down, it's an armed citizen 99% of the fucking time that has to use our self-defense weapons to take these fucking cocksuckers out. And that's why you now have 26 states that are permitless carry states. It's why you're about to have 27 with Nebraska and probably 28 pretty soon after that with South Carolina. And by the end of the year, it could be 29 with North Carolina for that matter. And who's to say it was going to be 30th at that point? But yeah, it's a bunch of shit all the way around, dude. Anyway. Came back on with the rest of this article, though. Said 4 people were killed in the incident there in Indiana when a gun opened fire in the parking lot. Then 4 more people were killed inside the facility when the gunman entered it and shot more folks. So Associated Press noted that Singai's son is suing over American Tactical's marketing tactics for absolute bullshit, dude. I have not once ever seen American Tactical do any kind of ad campaign at all, dude. So how the hell are you going to talk about marketing tactics like that? Trying to claim that the company has an obligation to quote unquote company has an obligation to seek controls over who can and can't buy their products. What the fuck? Okay, so you're going to go to a car manufacturer to say, okay, you have to make sure who can and can't buy your products, dude. The motherfucker in this case was, first of all, over the age of 18, dude. He can go buy whatever the fuck he wants. Secondly, you don't need a fucking background check to buy gun magazines, nor should you need a background check to buy gun magazines or ammo or anything else for that matter, dude. It's fucking ridiculous. And again, it goes back to failure of government every single fucking time, dude. Because again, it goes back to the fucking shitty cops that could have stopped that massacre from happening. It goes back to the fucking shitty ass everybody else like that could have stopped it from happening. Fucking FedEx themselves, being a fucking shitty corporation, could have stopped it in its fucking tracks by allowing their other employees. And mind you, this kid was an ex-employee. He was fired, and that's why he went back. It was literally going postal, is what it was, dude. It's the definition of going postal. They called it going postal back in the day because you had people that got fucking pissed because they got fired from being postal employees, and they went and shot the fucking place up, is what it was. And that's exactly what happened with FedEx there. You had a kid who was on the verge, pretty much a fucking nutter is what it was. That's the reason why he got fired there. And then he went back and shot a bunch of people up, is what it was, dude. And it could have easily been stopped had FedEx not been a fucking piece of shit gun-free zone. You could have had any and all employees that day armed. You know, shots start ringing out, bang, 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 bang by about 10 fucking people. You know, giving that kid the fucking firing squad he deserved is what it was, dude. Legitimately. Which, by the way, should be a death penalty in Ohio and every other state for that matter. So, anyway, at least one of the methods, anyway. But going back to the rest of it said September 28th, 2022, Brett News reported that Smith & Wesson had been sued by nearly a dozen family survivors of the July 4, 2022 Highland Park massacre. Again, another one that could have been stopped because that kid was fucking red flagged, and yet Indiana let him get a fucking pistol permit purchase / Floyd card. Or not Indiana, Indianapolis. That's what I mean. Or not Indianapolis. Yeah, Illinois. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the I names now. Yeah. Indianapolis is the capital of Indiana. Illinois is the one that actually does Floyd cards. And what's funny is Illinois actually tries to blame Indiana for all their gun stuff, even though it's mostly Chicago that has all the fucking guns, and that's what it is, dude. Anyways, but yeah, you had the pieces of shit at Highland Park trying to sue Smith & Wesson over the stuff. This is filed by Brady Campaign, which, by the way, Brady Campaign is owned by Michael Bloomberg. This is formerly Handgun Control Inc. and Edelston PC, also targeted an online gun retailer and an Illinois gun retailer. So it was online thing where the kid bought the one gun from in Highland Park, and then it was IFFL paperwork and got it from. So December 21st, 2022, Breitbart News reported the city of Buffalo filed a lawsuit against Beretta, Glock, Remington, Smith & Wesson, and other gun and gun parts manufacturers just months after the attacker, with an AR-15 style Bushmaster, shot and killed 10 innocents in the grocery store there, which would be Tops Market. The city also targeted Bushmaster, arm and or ally, and Poly 80 in the lawsuit. CNN quoted Buffalo mayor and piece of shit Democrat Byron Brown as saying, quote, members of our community have suffered too much and are for too long from gun violence. Yeah, shit that you create, by the way, by creating gun-free zones there in New York, you asshole. So we must do everything we can to decrease gun violence and fucking arm up, bitch, and stop having New York be a giant gun-free zone shithole, you douchebag. And this asshole continued on with a stupid ass statement and said, enabling the possession of illegal guns destroys lives and deeply affects our neighborhoods, especially in black and brown communities. That guy should have been fired on the fucking spot from being mayor, by the way, with that statement alone. Because he's trying to sit here and act as if only minorities are killed by guns. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. Anybody can be killed by a gun. Hell, I could walk out tomorrow. Hell, I could walk out later today in this house and be shot in the fucking street by somebody. You know? Shit happens, dude. Anyway, it's just a bunch of crap all the way around. And like I said, it's bullshit, dude. It's a bullshit frivolous lawsuit. It's just a cash grab. And it's absolute garbage, dude. The fact that any judge in this country is allowing this shit to go forward is fucking ridiculous. Honestly, in a just society right now, not only would every single one of these frivolous lawsuits be dismissed on the spot, you would have any lawyer bringing this shit up be disbarred on the fucking spot. Whether they work for Bloomberg or Everytown or Mom's Demand or Brady Campaign or whatever the fuck it is, dude, doesn't matter. Every single one of those douchebags should be disbarred on the spot right now from even being allowed to bring lawsuits as lawyers and stuff like that. And a lot of that shit would stop immediately then. And the real issue comes down to being when you have a billionaire, scumbag motherfucking criminal named Michael Bloomberg funding your organizations, it's pretty easy to have unlimited funds there. It's very hard for people like myself here at Ohio Picture Education Network to be able to fund lawsuits against pieces of shit like Andrew Ginther down there in Columbus for the mag ban they're trying to put into place now as an ordinance in July. Or to sue Gretchen Whitmer's ass, who I really want to sue now, because that bitch fucking passed a bunch of gun control there in Michigan yesterday, and her ass needs to get fucking sued personally over that shit, as does every single fucking Moms Demand Action Democrat that stole the election cycles of last year, who got themselves into office by doing so. And I guarantee you that 56-51 party line vote that passed there in Michigan's House was only done so because at least a dozen Democrats that all have ties to Bloomberg and MDA right now cheated their way into office in 2022. And if we actively, justifiably did away with that kind of shit, dude, and started auditing every single election in this country right now, you would have very fucking quickly a lot of shit be able to be done, and you would actually have free and fair elections again. But because we're not, you have a bunch of cheaters continuing to remain in office, is what it is, dude. And I'm fucking sick and tired of it, is what it is. Because every single one of those 56 Democrats in Michigan that would yes on that crap, on red flag laws and everything else there, needs to have their asses sued into the fucking ground right now, dude. Needs to have every last tax dollar that they are being paid as a state representative ripped away from them, as well as every last dollar in their fucking bank accounts in massive lawsuits across the board right now. And this is how we win this fight, by the way, is we start suing these fucking cocksuckers who are the assholes pushing these unconstitutional bullshit oath-breaking agendas that they want to call laws. Because reality is really just an agenda, dude. It's them trying to push legislation that is completely unconstitutional, will never hold up in court based on both the Heller and Bruin rulings for that matter, as well as a shitload of other stuff relating to the Second Amendment and the founding documents of this fucking country. And enough's enough of it, honestly. It's time that we start funding each other. It's time that we start funding grassroots organizations, and it's time that we get lawyers on this shit to start suing individual politicians. And it's as simple as that, really. And until we finish doing that, and until we go after the heart of the fucking snake at that point, which is the scumbags funding these politicians, your Bloomberg types, etc., and massive lawsuits as well, nothing's ever going to change. You will continue to have all this BS happen. You will continue to have all these unconstitutional oath-breaking pieces of shit do this shit every time. And enough is enough of it, honestly. It's time that we sue them, and it's time that we win the fight end the war at every single angle right now, because we've already won the war, by the way. We have over half the country now being constitutional carry states, dude. That right there is winning the fucking war, and we're continuing to win that war. Nebraska 27, South Carolina 28, probably North Carolina 29, 30th after that, 31st after that, 32nd after that. If we can get to 38, we can have a convention of states. We can force the other 12 unconstitutional, oath-breaking assholes, your New Yorks, your Californias, your New Jerseys, etc., to bend the fucking knee and make America a constitutional carry nation and make it a stand your ground nation by default as well on that one. Because if we can do constitutional carry, we can do stand your ground right after that. And that is how we win this fight once and for all. That is how we win this war once and for all. It is a war of attrition. We are winning the war of attrition. The issue becomes right now is that we are even allowing any of these people to remain in office after they are breaking the oath to office, after they are committing deprivation of rights, color of law, etc. And that is another thing right now that needs to be a federal felony going forward. There should never be anyone in office that directly deprives American citizens of their Second Amendment rights by BS legislation that is still allowed to remain in office after that. They should be yanked out of office in handcuffs and sent to the minimum state prison of that state, if not a federal prison in that state. And it's as simple as that. Hope you guys enjoy this episode, and I'll see y'all in the next one.